Well, you may or may not be able to see the fish down there, but they are in that very thick green algae-filled water. And I'm going to show you how to get this pond going. It's the start of another season. I'm going to show you some of the filters that we use to get things nice and cleaned up, including a UV bulb. So stick with me and I'll show you how we go about cleaning it up. Okay, so the next step is to get the filter going again. And what we have underneath here are two 35-gallon barrels, which act as the filter containers for the pond. The 800-gallon pond flows through this, and we have assorted media pads in there that clean it up. So that's the next stage, get this cleaned up and going. Now that lid is just a PVC material. It just keeps out debris from falling in, and of course little rodents and anything else from falling into the pit where we have the two barrels. First step for me is I will get my trusty shop vac going, and we will use it just to get rid of any of the debris, the larger debris and sediment that might have slipped through the cracks and gone into the bottom of those barrels. So I'll just take off a gallon or so of water from each of the barrels and get any of the sediment that was down there. So that is the check valve you see there that I will use to open up the flow of water from the bottom of the pond. It will come down into that pipe and it will flow into this barrel, which acts as a vortex, taking the heavier material, and once the heavier sediment settles, it flows out of there into the bottom of the next barrel, and that barrel is where all the media filters will be. So there you see our pump. This pump is capable of moving enough water for up to about 1,200 gallon pond, and ample for this one, which is about 800 gallons, and it will flow that water out of that second barrel and into the system. So you can see I have now attached it to the rubber coupler, and the feeding hose, it will take it off from there. So we're now ready to put the filter medium down into the barrel. First thing I'm going to put in are these, which are bio balls, they call them. They're good. They're made of plastic, but they allow the good bacteria to adhere to them, which help kill off the bad bacteria. So that'll be the first thing I put in. It's going to clog up fairly quickly, so once I get this filter going, within a week I'm going to pull it out again and give it a good rinse. On top of that, I will put the most coarse or porous of my 3 media pads, which also will fill up very quickly with algae and other sediment, but that's the first step that I will do as the season just starts out. Okay, inserting these now. And I'll push it down with the thicker of the media pads. And then finally, I'm going to place the pump right on top, and the weight of it will help to push that down as well. Alright, here's a look at the Tetrapon 36-watt ultraviolet bulb. And I'm going to replace this bulb, put it back in rather, into the system that you see right off there. It goes inside of that unit, and that's what really is the most effective way of burning off the algae as it goes through the pump system. Once the bulb is in, before I do turn the filter system back on, what I like to do is grab my screwdriver and go along tightening up all the different connections you can see here. Before I plug in the filter, I've put a fishnet in front of the inlet, just so the initial sediment that comes from the bottom of the pond will hopefully be caught and not fill up my barrel too quickly. So that's what you see there. And you can hear the flow. Let's see if everything holds. One other thing I want to do when I start up the pond running is I want to take out some of the existing water that's sat all season. So I'll use my utility pump I'll drop it into one of the barrels, the first one, and I'll start it running. And I will also add fresh water at the same time, probably taking off 100, 150, maybe even 200 gallons of water. So I'm going to drop that in now. I'm now going to replenish the water we're taking out with fresh water from the hose. I'm going to keep it in a mist format so that it's not a thick stream. It allows the chlorine to dissipate slightly. So after adding the fresh water, I did add this Pond Prime. It's a product by Water Garden Oasis. It does help remove the chlorine, the ammonia, and chloramine, the various chemicals that could be in the city water. Well, as you can see, the fish are starting to come to the top. They seem to enjoy the fresh bubbling and the fresh oxygen going into the water. So I've set up the pump and the filters, and I'm going to let this run for a few days. By then I should see a marked improvement with the amount of green that you see in this water. The media pads as well as the UV light should really help to burn off and catch a lot of that sediment that's going through. I'll also at that time change the filters and add possibly even another filter pad to catch even more of the sediment. Hope you found this helpful as a way to get your pond going and to keep it clean. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and as I put out more pond tips and things about your fish, you will be notified that they're out there and you'll be able to check them out. Thanks for watching, guys, and your comments and thumbs up always appreciated.